On April 9th, I was alerted by a local resident to the fact that a portion of an active volcano in Portugal just had its alert level raised. I am not specifically referring to the mainland, but rather a volcano in the Azores island chain. And I must admit, this occurred at a volcano that I absolutely did not expect since it had essentially shown no signs of life since its last eruption. What I'm referring to is a portion of the Pico's volcano on Pico's island whose most striking feature is the tall stratocone, which rises to an altitude of 2,351 meters or 7,713 feet above sea level. Yet, thankfully, I am not specifically referring to this peak in of itself, nor am I referring to the on-land flank vents which have erupted in historical times. Instead, I am referring to a seemingly poorly defined region in scientific literature known as the Cachorro submarine volcanic system. I was unable to find an outline or even information about the subcomplex, so what I am about to say is an educated guess. It appears to mark a completely submarine lineament that at the very minimum encompasses this area. It does not include any part of Pico's island proper, and while it might be fed by the same very deep magma chamber, it largely acts like an independent subsystem, albeit with the same composition as Mount Pico and even erupted in 1963. That submarine eruption lasted for only 4 days, causing volcanic gases and what may have been a few lava balloons to float to the surface at this approximate location, 4 kilometers northwest of the village of Cachorro. The alert level of the subsystem was raised from V0 to V1 on the V0 to V7 alert level scale the Azores island chain uses, essentially translating to the detection of slightly unusual elevated geophysical data. In this case, we are talking only about the rate of earthquakes and no other signs of unrest. This elevated rate of earthquakes began on April 1st, 2026, striking along a northeast to southwest trend and primarily involving low-magnitude earthquakes which were too small for anyone to feel. However, there have also been 7 magnitude 2 range earthquakes and even a single magnitude 3.0 earthquake, which all theoretically could have been felt by a few people. These earthquakes are quite interesting for 3 reasons. 1, they are almost all occurring along a nearly straight line, almost like a magma dike would, although that statement is just speculation and at this point is an unlikely possibility. 2, these earthquakes are occurring in the wrong orientation to be related to one of the multiple known fault lines that generally trend west-northwest or northwest. And 3, per a statement from CIVISA, these earthquakes are occurring in a range of depths from 20 kilometers depth all the way to what were simply described as shallow depths. While all of this combined could indicate the recent intrusion of magma into the ductile lower crust and then rise of hydrothermal fluids to generate said earthquakes, I am really just speculating here without evidence. However, this could also just be purely tectonic activity from a previously unknown fault line. I mean, the seismicity does run vaguely perpendicular to a series of known faults, and sometimes such a tectonic regime can create these faults. If this does involve a strike-slip fault line, the range of depths the earthquakes have would also make sense. Regardless, in my opinion, the people on the island of Pico do not seem to be in any danger, nor is there seemingly a risk of an imminent volcanic eruption. However, this activity is definitely interesting, so scientists are keeping an eye on it. Honestly, the worst-case scenario at this point, which is also incredibly unlikely, is a shallow submarine volcanic eruption occurring 2 to 4.5 kilometers offshore to the northwest of Pico Island. Besides, I want to remind everyone that portions of another Azores volcano is at the same alert level, while 2 portions of a second volcano are at a slightly higher alert level, and no eruptions occurred at either of those since their alert levels were raised. I wish I could provide more information on what is denoted as a specific submarine portion of the volcanic system that comprises Pico Island, but I checked available literature and in my opinion I really had nothing to work with. Stay tuned for more updates. As a final note, I would like to thank this channel's patrons on Patreon and channel members on YouTube for supporting my work.